Call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone here this evening. Our first item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, so I'll ask Liam Mitchell if he would come forward and lead us in the pledge. Okay.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Liam. Ask for approval of the agenda.
I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor? And the motion carries. Okay. Liam, if you want to come back. I'll tell you, I'm very partial to the name Liam because my youngest grandson is named Liam as well. So, yeah, that's what I want. Okay, stand right there. Liam is in Wakeland Elementary School, and I'll read what they wrote about him. It says, instead of having friends bringing gifts for his birthday, Liam asked if they would bring canned boxed food items to donate to the school Backpack Pals program. Liam was able to donate 130 items to the food bank at Zebulon United Methodist Church. He took the time to go to the food bank and hand delivers the food items to the church. We are so proud of his genuine care to help others in need and his maturity to forego his birthday gifts to help others. I did not explain that each month we recognize a student and teacher from one of the public schools here, and this is obviously Liam this month. So, thank you, sir. Richard Gray. Hi. Richard is the healthful living teacher at Wakeland Elementary School, and they say that Mr. Gray is dedicated to every student he serves at Wakeland. He is committed to helping his students meet and exceed their potential. He has an impeccable gift of reaching even the most difficult students. He brings 110% to the table every day and is a true leader at Wakeland. He can be seen every day greeting students as they walk through the door in the morning. The students wait in line for their daily hugs from Mr. Gray. He is also at carpool every afternoon, rain, snow, or sunshine, calling students to come out to meet their parents. He is the most dependable person, and he does everything with the kindest spirit. He plans and organizes our annual field day, fun run, first in fitness, and sponsors our running club. Mr. Gray is an asset to our Wakeland family and community, and there is no one more deserving of this recognition. So thank you. Okay, next we have a public hearing regarding partial closure of Hendricks Drive up in Wakefield. So I will call that hearing into order and ask for staff report.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. Let's see if we can get the PowerPoint's not coming up, but you've got a PowerPoint in front of you. This is a request by two applicants, one being Frank Doyle with BB&T, the other being Stephen Solomon with Wilco Hess LLC. There we go. All Application was dropped off August 13th, earlier this year. Again, it is to close a portion of Hendricks Drive. This is roughly a 262 linear foot portion at the end of Hendricks Drive, just west of Arundel Avenue, and there will be some maps of that later. Again, this is kind of a general overview. Arundel Avenue, you have Hendricks Drive, Valero or Eden's Oil here. You have some parish property, the animal hospital. There are several of these properties here owned by Wilco Hess. I think these two are the credit union. You'll see a little bit better on the next, I'll just switch it over to the aerial. There is a stream that follows the southern part of the credit union that kind of meanders its way behind some of these properties. The property lines are a little bit hard to see on this one, but the Wilco Hess property does extend kind of back and around the credit union property, and then BB&T's property makes up the remaining portion behind this right-of-way as well as to the north of it. So it is just a portion. The box I drew is approximate where the 262 linear feet is. There is an exhibit that will follow on the next slide, but this gives you a feel for where the right-of-way stops or would terminate with the right-of-way portion being closed. Again, half of this right-of-way goes to each adjoining property owner, one property owner being Wilco Hess, the other being BB&T. Let me flip to the next slide. This orients it a little bit. Arundel Avenue runs north-south. Just off the map, this is the corner of the credit union's property here, and then the Wilco Hess property that circles around it. So I've shaded the portion of Hendricks Drive that is to be closed. Again, this is a map that was provided as an exhibit to the resolution itself. It's done by Bass, Nixon, and Kennedy. And again, the two property owners that adjoin it that would be receiving half of this property. And again, as you'll see on the exhibit, but also noted on here is the right-of-way termination boundary, but then the property owners would receive half of that right-of-way. So it a little bit poor quality scan, but your exhibit should show a little bit better of where that actual line is there. The North Carolina General Statutes 168-299 lays out some specific requirements to follow. Again, this is to declare, the board declared on September 10th and called for a public hearing, which is tonight. Due to the advertising requirements through the general statute, you have to advertise it 4 times. So therefore, we weren't able to meet the advertising requirements for the October regular meeting, so it pushed it to the November meeting. We sent out property owner notifications as well as posted signs on October the 3rd. And again, tonight is the resolution 2019-11, which is before you for the actual public hearing and resolution should you choose to adopt it. With regards to the policy analysis, we did look at all of our adopted plans, transportation plan, greenway, bicycle, and pedestrian master plan, along with our comprehensive land use plan. The bicycle and pedestrian plan did have a bicycle pedestrian plan on the west side of Arundel, but it did not extend up Hendricks Drive. So that was the closest improvements to this property aside from the extension, which kind of goes behind the Eastern Regional Center. The right-of-way is not under the authority or control of NCDOT. Based on our review of the information provided as well as the plans and policies in place, it wasn't detrimental to the public interest or any property rights of any adjoining individual or properties. And it does not deprive any reasonable use, ingress or egress for any of the adjoining properties should they develop in the future and should this property be right-of-way be closed. And again, the abutting landowners of the property would receive half of that land to them, which is the 2 applicants that are shown on the application. And again, a copy of the actual resolution 2019-11. The SC 2019-01 is the street closure. It's planning's case number for it. But that's pretty much the staff review and recommendation. If there's any questions or comments, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions from the board? Yes, not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone wishing to speak in favor of this closing?
My name is Mark Van Sickle. I work with Little Architects. I'm here to help represent BB&T. Just wanted to say that we're here more to answer any questions that you guys have more than anything else.
Okay. Questions? Any questions from the board? Guess not, but thank you for being here. Okay. Anyone wish to speak in opposition to the closing? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, and the matter does come up later on the agenda. Now we have the public comment period, and we have one person that has signed up this evening, Denise Now.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. I just wanted to share a couple of updates with you from our Zebulon Next event. Thank you for those of you who are able to join us. The keynote presenter, Chris Chung, with the Economic Development Partnership for North Carolina, wanted me to share a few remarks. He said, "Thanks again for inviting me to be part of Zebulon Next. I appreciated the thoughtful structure of the agenda. It was clear that all the speakers' messages tied together and reflected the community's strategic plan that was presented. I left having learned a lot about Zebulon, and hopefully that knowledge can come in handy in the future." So I think we found a new friend in Chris Chung, and definitely another good partner for us. About 2 weeks ago, I attended the North Carolina Economic Development Association, a luncheon that they held in Rocky Mount at the Rocky Mount Mill, and Commissioner Beverly Clark was able to go with me to that. We actually really learned a lot of good things about what they're doing for community and economic development in that area. Definitely a lot of conversation about the vision, the collaboration, and public-private partnerships, and they just kind of put all that together into one voice of talking about the importance of regionalism and how all of our communities can work together for the good. There were private investors, a community college, and businesses that have all made some of this great stuff happen. So if you get a chance to go and check that place out, it's pretty amazing. Holiday happenings schedule. So there's a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks. Next Friday from 4 to 7, and then Saturday from 9 to 3, there'll be a holiday market at the community center. The downtown Christmas tree lighting is on Saturday the 1st of December from 4 to 8. And then the parade is as per our usual on Sunday the 2nd at 2 p.m. And then so that you guys will see it before everybody else, we're doing our second commemorative Christmas ornament, and so we brought one to pass around to let everybody see. Last year we did it to honor the new Christmas tree, the partnership that made that happen, and then also to honor the Miss Zebulon organization that had just resumed after 50 years. This year we're doing it again to commemorate the partnership for the tree, and then also to commemorate Debenham Ace Hardware for their 100th anniversary. So thank you very much, and we hope you have a great night.
Thank you. Okay, next item is the consent agenda.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor? Motion carries. Now we have the audit presentation.
Good evening. We have Sheldon Ennis here from Joyce & Company, our auditors. I won't steal his material, but I'll just thank him and his staff for their help throughout this process. May not be aware, this is about a 5-month process. It starts in late spring and pretty much concludes about a week ago. You have I put the CAFR audit highlights, which he's going to go over, and the governance letter on each of your desks there. So you can reference it. From the highlights has page numbers in the CAFR to reference those numbers. But I'll just turn it over to him, and he'll answer questions, or I'll answer questions if you have any.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the board. Thank you for having us here tonight. Keith Joyce, our managing partner, is here as well to help answer any questions. We audited the financial statements for the town of Zebulon for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2018. As Bobby mentioned, the audit highlight sheet that you have in front of you has several highlighted pieces of information, and the page numbers correspond to the page numbers in the CAFR, which I believe you have as well in front of you. The amounts that are shown on the audit highlight sheet are rounded to the nearest $1,000. The audit opinion is an unmodified, clean opinion that the town received for its financial statements for the year ended June 30th, 2018. That means that the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position and the activities and operations of the town. Several items that I want to point out in the financial statements included in the audit highlights are the cash balances at year end. The cash balances increased from $8.8 million in the end of 2017 to just over $10 million at the end of 2018. That's a $1.2 million increase as a result of the operations of the town, an operational surplus, as well as higher accounts payable at year end compared to the prior period. The fixed assets, the governmental fixed assets of the town, which increased by about $1.2 million to about $19,845,000 at year end, resulted from road and sidewalk improvements, as well as stormwater drainage improvements, the addition of police vehicles as well. The general fund is the main operating fund of the town, and the fund balance at year end increased from the prior year by about $216,000 to $9,378,000. This resulted from a increase in operational surplus, as I mentioned. That was a decrease, though, from the prior year. The fund balance had increased in the prior year about $1.2 million. The reason for the change was largely due to a transfer from the general fund to the two new capital projects funds, and also higher personnel expenses as well. The water and sewer fund is used strictly for debt service, as well as capturing payments on behalf of the city of Raleigh for development development fees that the town takes in and remits directly back to the city of Raleigh. At year end, the cash balances in the water sewer fund increased over prior year to about $102,000, and the change in net position, or the overall profit from the fund, was the same as the prior year, about $4,000. One of the town's major revenue sources is ad valorem property taxes. Those increased from about $5.5 million in 2017 to approximately $6.3 million in fiscal year 18. That's about an $822,000 increase. That stemmed largely from increased higher property valuations. Personal property valuations were up about 34% from the prior year, and real property valuations were up about 17%. Personal property includes things like vehicles, as well as businesses, equipment, and things like that. The overall collection percentage of the property taxes billed decreased slightly from 99.6% to 99.5%. This still compares favorably to the statewide average of 98.92%. The long-term debt, governmental, separate from water sewer, decreased by $627,000. There was no new debt in fiscal year 2018, and the decrease was a result of existing debt being paid down. The water and sewer debt was completely paid off in fiscal year 18, so that has been completely relieved as of year end. The one other item that's in the financial statements in Exhibit 2, and that's your statement of activities, there was an accounting change in the current fiscal year. The change was for GASB 75, which is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, the accounting and financial reporting for post-employment benefits other than pensions. So what that is health care for retirees is essentially what that is. That resulted in a adjustment to the beginning net position of the town by about $3.2 million, adjusting it downward. This is a nationwide requirement, accounting change that's affected all units, all municipalities. And this change is for similar sized municipalities as the town of Zebulon, probably about average for what we're seeing in other units in the state. The overall impact to net position is reflected in Exhibit 2, and there was a decrease of about $800,000 from the prior year, largely stemming from this accounting change, and it was offset somewhat by developer contributions that were about $1.7 million, which include various street easements and sidewalk paths and things of that nature. The unrestricted net position of the town, which is what you would consider available, actually decreased from about $5 million to about $2.2 million, which is reflective of this accounting change. The town applies for the Certificate of Excellence from the Government Officers Association, the GFOA, and the town has received this Certificate of Achievement and Excellence in Financial Reporting for fiscal year June 30th, 2017, and it's a prestigious award, and the town will be applying for this award for its 25th consecutive year for the financial statements ending June 30th, 2018. There were no audit findings that were included in the CAFR, which is a testimony to Bobby and the finance staff for doing such a good job maintaining internal controls. We appreciate the responsiveness of Bobby and his staff and the cooperation and getting us materials and responding to our questions. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Question? I have two. The valuation subject to tax jumped significantly, which would have significantly increased our revenues. Do you, by about $750,000, if my math's correct, but do you have any way to know how much of that is new growth?
There is a way to find out that information. I know that there was some significant investment within several of the commercial businesses in town that can be attributed to that increase in the valuation, especially the personal property. The real estate property probably has more to do with the residential growth, and we can certainly look into it to give you a little more detail.
I was just wondering what that impact was of something new being built, if you will. So primarily that is residential. There's some commercial, but
Yes, sir.
It's more of a curiosity question as to how we're faring in the market, if you will.
Yes, sir.
The other question I had is, well, I have two others. How do you treat the pro forma with the merger agreement with Raleigh? You said we paid off the water and sewer debt, and what were we paying on that? I apologize, I don't remember.
Right, so there was debt for the infrastructure assets that were turned over to the city back in 2006, City of Raleigh in 2006, and according to the agreement, the town and other municipalities in Wake County, the same thing goes for them, still had to pay that debt, but then the City of Raleigh reimburses the town for those debt payments. And so those debt payments, and I'm not sure who the lender was exactly on those, but those, that debt has been completely liquidated.
So we were getting reimbursed from Raleigh and then turning around and paying them out of tax revenues as opposed to utility revenues.
Well, the reimbursement's coming from City of Raleigh, so in the merger agreement.
We paid the debt.
Yes, sir.
They paid us and we paid the debt.
That's right, yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So it was in effect coming out of utility fees.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that was primarily it. Okay, that's what I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? Bob, do you have anything else?
Yeah, just to clarify your question, the debt, there was from a loan from way back, I think 98, we refunded back in 2003. That whole deal was part of the pro forma you mentioned. It was built into that. So the pro forma itself, the whole merger debt is not complete, but the debt service payments from way back when are complete with this year.
No, I understand that. I didn't know how the pro forma liability was treated.
Yeah,
And,
all of that was built into the model. Yeah, like I said, we're responsible for the debt. We would make the payments, and then we're ultimately responsible, but they've been paying it.
they're basically the ones collecting it.
Right.
So what they're doing is just keeping the money and using that to pay off the, you know, for us to pay off the pro forma. And again, it's all coming out of utility revenues as opposed to tax revenue.
Right, yeah, there's totally no tax revenue involved in that.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had. Anybody else have any questions? Thank you, Bob. All right, another good job for the finance department. And thank you to the auditors. Appreciate it. Okay, we have planning, Hendricks Drive.
I didn't have anything else to add unless you had any specific questions.
Question? Okay, then what we have is resolution 2019-11, and need a motion.
Motion to approve resolution 2019-11.
Second?
Motion made and second. All in favor? Any opposed? Nobody else up here, so no.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, new business, administration, personnel policy amendments.
Good evening. I come before you tonight with some personnel policy amendments that were developed in conjunction with the Human Resources Subcommittee. What you have in front of you in your staff report are two changes relative to employee birthdays and the vacation accrual policy. So there's background information within your staff report, and I stand ready to answer any questions you may have in your consideration.
Questions?
Chris, the birthday deal, you either, if you're working, I mean, if you have on a weekend, your birthday, you got to take the day off in that pay period, right?
That's correct.
Is that optional?
Optional
I
to
say,
take,
well, I just don't want that day off. I want to be off. Is that optional, or is that, you either have your birthday off or?
right. I think the intent of the way this is written is that it would be coordinated between the employee and the supervisor or the department head, more specifically. That way they can adjust whether it be work schedules or workload, for example. Maybe the day there was a birthday is a really busy day and is a better day to take off, as long as it's within that work cycle, that 2-week cycle. That meets the intent of this change, this standard.
Other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve these personnel policy amendments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, second. Other comments? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. All right, business development grant.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the board. The Town of Zebulon Economic Development Incentive Policy was last updated in 2008. The policy includes one incentive tier. This tier offers an incentive up to 100% of new ad valorem taxes received. Additionally, the job and investment thresholds associated with this tier do not match well with current manufacturing processes or the amount of town property that is currently zoned heavy industrial. Current manufacturing processes rely more on automation and require less labor than traditional processes. Zebulon's heavy industry zoning includes a collection of relatively small lots running alongside the railroad. The lot sizes limit the investment potential of these properties. The Wake County Board of Commissioners recently amended their Wake County Business Development Grant Policy. This amendment adds a new tier focused on companies locating or expanding in a designated targeted growth area or vulnerable community. This tier addresses the job and investment thresholds already noted with Zebulon's current policy and provides Zebulon with a partner to leverage additional funds for economic development incentives. Wake County's Business Development Grant Policy also includes a tier closely matching the job and investment thresholds noted in Zebulon's current policy, but limits the incentive to 30% of ad valorem taxes received. The discussion before the board is whether they wish to amend their economic development policy as submitted, and we stand ready to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? Joe, I do have a comment. It seems to me that Tier 1, the job minimum is 50, considering automation and all that. I would suggest that be dropped back to 25 or 30, somewhere along in there. That's the only comment that I have. And I'm not wedded to a job minimum, but I think somewhere in that area is more appropriate. And that's when we're on our own and the county's not with us. So that would be my only suggestion.
If the board desires, they may read an amendment into adopting the resolution if they wish.
I guess need to know if y'all agree with that or not.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Okay, 25?
20 or 25, either one you want to go.
I'd say 25 since we're on our own on that. Y'all okay with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 25 would be good.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, then is there a motion to adopt this policy?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2008-25 with the amended Tier 1 to jobs of 25.
25, okay. Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
Second.
Other comments or discussion? All in favor? And motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. All right, Public Works. Aaron Lakes.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. Tonight we come in front of you to ask your consideration for acceptance and maintenance of Tarrant Lakes Phase 2B for the roadway and storm drainage infrastructure. Just a little bit of background. Phase 2B is a section of 39 lots east of Rose Mallow in the Tarrant Lakes, and it also now connects to Tarrant Meadows. so that we'll have a connection road through there. Tonight, we're asking you to accept 1,429 linear feet of roadway on Watsonia, 174 linear feet on Loose Strife Court, 293 of roadway on Purple Verbena Court, and 2,400 linear footage of storm drainage. This will add approximately $353,886 in new fixed assets. Developer has met all the requirements and has posted a letter of credit in the amount of $337,850 to finish out the improvements. With that, staff recommends approval of resolution 2019-12.
Question? For motion?
I make a motion we adopt resolution 219-12.
Second.
Motion made, second. Other comments or discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
All right, thank you, guys. This is the second one we have tonight for accepting a roadway and storm drainage. I think that you'll see this becoming more and more prominent as we continue to grow. For tonight, we're asking for Weaver's Pond 3B2 roadway and storm drainage to be accepted and the maintenance of that. Phase 3B2 is a section of 78 lots located north of Golden Plum, and it's an extension of Sage Tree Drive. Tonight, we're asking for approval of 1,496 linear feet of roadway via Sage Tree Drive, 383 linear foot of Willow Breeze Court, 874 linear feet of Carissa Lane, and approximately 2,159 linear feet of storm drainage infrastructure. These assets that are being dedicated to us are valued at $396,145. Developers met all the requirements for dedication. Developers posted a letter of credit for $211,741.55 for items not completed. Staff request approval of resolution 2019-13.
Question? Motion?
I make a motion we approve resolution 2019-13.
Second.
Motion made and second. Comments or questions? Not. All in favor? All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chris. All right, fire service level agreement.
Thank you again. I come before you tonight for your consideration, a service level agreement with Wake County for a mass notification system. You may recall this is a project we've been working on several years as we initially attempted to secure a system such as this for our own use. However, Wake County purchased a system and has been working ever since then to enable the municipalities to use it at no cost through a service level agreement. So stand to answer any questions you may have in your consideration of this item.
Question?
Does this in any way compromise our police communications?
No, sir. This is this enables us to notify. There's two different ways we could use this. One is emergency notifications. For example, a lost child in a neighborhood or something, and we can notify people in their homes to be on the lookout for a child or what have you. So I think it'd be a great complement to our police as well as other emergency services. And there's a non-emergency side as well for notifying of street closures or something similar to that.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Motion?
So moved.
All right, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Other questions or comments? All in favor? And the motion carries. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much.
All right, board comments. Dale, start with you. Have anything? Don?
No,
No.
Okay. Beverly?
I just want to say I went with Denise to that economic development luncheon, and it was wonderful. And if you do get a chance, y'all ought to go down there and look at it. It is amazing how, you know, the people get together to form this.
It was in Rocky Mount.
Rocky Mount.
Rocky Mount.
Hey, Gene?
No, I have anything.
Don't have anything?
I'm sorry, I do have a comment if you don't mind,
All
Bob.
right, sure.
thank all our staff and police department and fire department, everybody for the trunk or treat that they put on the other night and on the grounds out here. There's a lot of people that came to that. A lot of kids got a lot of candy, and I'm sure their fathers ate it all. So anyway, thank you very much for a job well done. I probably looking forward to it next year to be bigger and better. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Don. I have 2 remarks. One, I did hand out the Joe's evaluation. There's a cover letter in there, but beside the cover letter, pay attention to the instructions on the first page. And specifically, we had conversation about, well, there's a lot of questions. You don't have to answer each question. It's just a matter of trying to stimulate your thought. And it's in there, but that was the biggest criticism that we had of the original proposal that came. Secondly, I've given you something on the Wake County Mayor's Association Christmas party, so you need to let, I guess, Lisa or Stacy know if you plan on attending that. I hope we have a good representation, but it looks like it's going to be nice. It's going to be in Wake Forest this year. And other than that, I don't have any comment. Joe?
4 public service announcements. Veterans Day celebration is Friday, November 9th at 9 a.m. in the Community Center. Wake County Veteran Services Officer Douglas Johnson will be the featured speaker the same day, but at 7 o'clock that night at the Community Center is Family Movie Night, and Peter Rabbit will be the featured film. And as Denise mentioned, the Farm Fresh Market takes up residency in its winter home down at the Community Center on Friday and Saturday, November 16th and 17th. Not only will the Zebulon Farm Fresh Market vendors be there, but 25 craft vendors will also be selling their products. And other highlights include dance, music, Santa Claus, Cousin's Maine Lobster Truck, and our newest and dearest friends out of Rocky Mount, Koi Pond Brewing. And just as a reminder, tomorrow is Election Day, so go vote. Our very own community center is one of the polling places, as well as the regional center on the north end of town. And that's it.
Thank you, Joe. You mentioned the Veterans Association. I want to tell y'all that I will not be there this year. I'm going back to sea. I was in the Navy. No, I'm going to Florida with Sam and my 2 grandsons, and we're going on a fishing trip. And y'all know Chris Gill. Chris is our captain. So that's where I'll be, and I'm sure I won't miss being there, considering where I'm going to be. But I wanted you to know why I was not there. Okay, we have a closed session as permitted by North Carolina General Statute 143, 318.11A4 for the purpose of discussing economic development. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
And second? All in favor? All right, sir.